Again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're talking about the best day in the life of an insurance agent, and that is receiving your commissions, particularly the commissions that you've been working so hard for the last 3 months that you're just now getting.
Yeah. So, and this is what we worked for. And I will say, but before we go into that, hopefully you got paid all throughout AEP. And that's important to reiterate, and maybe for some future forecasting to think, okay, if you struggled through AEP because you weren't getting paid for all the business you're writing, pay attention to ancillary products, because med subs and ancillary products don't have to wait to pay. It's only Medicare Part C and Medicare Part D plans that can't pay prior to the effective date. Everyone else can. So that's why it's important to have the hospital indemnity, dental, vision, hearing, and other ancillary products help keep you afloat along with the residual income through AEP.
Exactly. Making sure that you're receiving income the entire time not only helps your bottom dollar, not only helps your bank account, but it's also products that your consumers need to hear about. So it's a win-win situation.
100%. Now, when you get your commission check, don't forget, one, you got to pay taxes on it. And I mean, this is par for the course for many of us, but if you are newer to the Medicare market, remember that you are 1099 with every carrier, and that you are getting a check with no taxes taken out. So you will have to report that income to the IRS next year through your accountant. Highly recommend using an accountant. And then make sure, so if you spend all your money this year and you get an $8,000 tax bill, you're not caught off guard. I will say it worked for me is up to 20% of all my commission checks and put them in a savings account.
Exactly.
I had a block of money sitting there, and I'm like, hopefully I paid less in taxes than that was sitting in there after all my expenses. And that was what my accountant recommended, and it worked really well.
It's amazing how many agents I talk to that actually work themselves out of business because they invest all that money back into themselves, so they spend that money and they don't take into consideration the tax is going to be due on that. So make sure, again, take really great notes. Next talks about throughout the entire year, making sure you're tracking things that you can write off, make sure you're investing money back into your business so that, again, it's not going to be as heavily taxed, but just be ready for that. Get with a good, like Mike mentioned, get with a great accountant. I would love, we're actually having some interviews set up for Senior Marketing Specialist University to meet with accountants to kind of talk about what you should be interested, how to track that, what counts what to be written off, what doesn't. So stay tuned. We have some great trainings coming up with that. But I think the biggest thing when it comes between taxes and growing your business is investing in yourself. Mike put some great points on here, like CRMs. Obviously, Mike and I can talk until we are blue in the face about the importance of CRMs and how if your CRM is just storing information, then you're using it incorrectly or you need to get a new one.
Yeah, 100%. Now's the time, and you may be able to you may be able to pay annually and save some money, because you always have those features or promotions. If you pay everything up front for a year, maybe you save a month or two on the total cost. So pay attention to that. But yeah, if you've been like, I need a CRM or I need some new marketing or something, before you blow all that money on a new car or something else, look into your business.
Exactly. We have on here,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, what? No, you go ahead.
I will share a quick story. So when I was newer to insurance, I drove a little Mazda Protege. It was nothing special. It was a basic car, but it got me where I needed to go. The most important thing is it was paid off. So no car payment, I was golden. A friend of mine, right when he started selling insurance, thought I need to look the part. Bought a brand new car. Bought everything new he could buy and afford, quote unquote. He did. Well, he, like Olivia said, he drove himself out of business because he could not keep up with the payments on this brand new, shiny, fully loaded Nissan Maxima, which was probably a $35,000 car. Here I am with no expenses. I was still in business, and he had to go get a part-time job and eventually work himself out, because every dollar he got, he spent too. So just be mindful of that. I've never lost a deal because of the car I drove. So if you think you need the biggest, prettiest, shiniest, fanciest car to sell insurance, you are 100% wrong.
So something I always found really interesting is more of an old style. We talk about, millennials versus baby boomers in the market, what motivates them. Something that was an old sales tactic, actually, sales coaches advise their teams to do this, was actually to go and buy a really nice car, to go out and buy really nice things that have car payments, because they said you need to make sure that you find motivation, and there's nothing more motivating than a car or a house payment coming up that you know that you have to account for. So they would actually advise people to go and spend outside of their comfort zone so that they had the motivation to sell and do more, which is an interesting thought. Again, I don't know that a lot of financial planners and a lot of people would advise that today, but finding out what motivates you is important. Mike, you have on here tech. What tech would you recommend an agent right now, beginning of the year, invest in?
It's going to kill me to say this, and I'm solely going to Apple, is an iPad. If you have an iPad, yeah, I know Olivia's smirking because I just invested in a MacBook this week, solely going Apple. I was dragging my feet, line in the sand. I won't go Apple with my Android phone and Windows everything, and now I've got an iPhone, an iPad. I went to MacBook, so I get it. And I'm slowly figuring out MacBook. Like I just found this, Olivia and I were talking earlier, I just found how to find my documents folder on MacBook. And it was like, anyway, so yeah, invest in tech, whatever makes your job easier. Carriers, rather than just use a lot of a laptop. That's what I'm looking for. A laptop. A lot of them have apps that will really streamline the process even more than trying to find an internet signal or anything else. So if you don't have an iPad, you don't need anything fancy. Just a regular iPad. You don't need the Pro because that's kind of overkill for what we do. We just need to have access to the apps. If you can have internet on it, great. Go to wherever you go through Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T. See maybe if they have a deal, or just buy one for Wi-Fi only. That, of course, is up to you. Doesn't matter. But the important thing is to streamline the process. And a regular iPad now is what, $300-400, not for nothing fancy. So they're not super expensive unless you start going the Pro line, and then you start talking, prices with commas in there, $1,000+. You don't need that unless you're doing like crazy video editing on it, which most of us aren't.
So if I can give my 2 cents, the tech that I would recommend is just some sort of tablet. I am sold in. I bought and sold. I got my iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch. Like I am obviously. You don't have to be in the Apple family. I know Mike. We give Mike a hard time because he, swore he wouldn't. But you don't necessarily have to do that. My recommendation when you're looking at tech is what is it that's going to increase your productivity, but also increase the experience brought on by the consumer, because ultimately that experience is what they remember. Consumers don't remember what you did or what you said. They remember how you made them feel in that experience. So me personally, why I recommend doing a tablet is versus using something like a computer screen or something like that, is because when you're doing your appointment process, you have to be very mindful to avoid the technological barrier. So it seems kind of counterintuitive because we're telling you invest in tech, but be aware of that technological barrier. What that technological barrier is whenever I'm talking and meeting with somebody, if I'm doing this and looking at my iPad the entire time, where I have my computer screen and I'm looking at my computer screen when you're talking, it creates a literal barrier between me and the client. And so what they don't know is are they looking on Facebook? Are they texting? What are they writing about me? Are they writing about how nasty my hair looks today? Like people just get really self-conscious when they don't know what you're saying about them. So what I like to do, again, invest in something that has note-taking and like pen to paper capabilities. Again, super bougie. I know I have an Apple Pencil. You don't need this. This is garbage. A regular stylus works, but again, like Charmaine says, I have absolutely drank the Kool-Aid. I am an Apple through and through. But I like to take notes on this. Again, I'm not putting HIPAA sensitive information. Just to be clear, not HIPAA sensitive information because it's not protected other than just my thumbprint. But taking notes that you would take throughout a presentation, that way you have them, they're stored forever, they're very transparent, a client can see what you're writing, but it does help you stay organized in that regard as well. So again, investing in tech that does make you more productive, but keep the consumer experience in mind when you're investing in that tech.
Yeah, and there's tons of tutorials. As soon as I bought this MacBook, which I bought Sunday, so this is literally my first Apple computer I've ever owned. I reached out to some friends that I know use Apple. I even went right before we started here. I went to my wife. I said, "Oh, look, I found this window that shows me everything." And she's like, "Yeah, you idiot. Yeah, I know," because she's had a MacBook forever. So there's tons of resources online. I know it's a big learning curve to go to a new system, but once you have it down, spend just a couple minutes a day fumbling through it, and by the time next AEP rolls around, you'll be so fluid in it that you'll be flying through it, and you're like, "Oh, I should have done this years ago." Like I told my wife last time, like I wish I would have switched to a MacBook years ago, because I'm seeing where this is a much more fluid and much easier system to use. Even though still going through my learning curve, I get it, and there's enough resources online to help you through it. So
Yeah.
watch that. And yes, Mary, I'm eating crow. Yes.
But again, just to keeping in mind, you don't have to have an Apple product. Just make sure when you are investing, you keep those two aspects in mind.
I'm gonna correct, do an addendum to that. I would say if you're gonna buy a tablet, the problem with tablets, Android tablets, and this has been forever, is that there's a lot of inconsistency between brands and which ones. Apple just has a nice consistency, you know it's gonna work. So that's how I started in the Apple ecosystem. Was my first thing about was an iPad, because everywhere you turn to, it's like, if you're buying a tablet, you need an iPad. It's the most supported, it's just the best tablet on the market. And you could use Windows, everything else, and just have an iPad and make your life happy. So, but again, if you want to stick with Android, go nuts. But I want to just remind you, and this is something that, again, I was doing my homework all last week on, okay, do I get another ThinkPad by IBM, which I loved. I've owned two, love them both. They still both work. Or do I jump ship and go Apple? And I noticed that my email ads, my Facebook feed, my Instagram feed, everywhere I turned to online had MacBook, had Apple advertisements, had IBM advertisements, because as soon as I looked at MacBook Air on my PC, because I want to watch the world burn, they started getting the solicitations. So when your clients are looking up Medicare information, they're getting that in their social media feed, in their email, and everything else they touch online, because it's planting those cookies in their system. And when they open up Facebook, Facebook goes, okay, what have they been looking at? Let's load them up with all that solicitation.
Exactly. So again, this year more than ever, because of COVID-19, the world has gone virtual. And it will continue to do so. We're seeing that not only because of what COVID-19 has done, but COVID-19, all it's done is actually increase the inevitable, or sped up the inevitable, that people were going to continue to research and continue to mingle and communicate online. So making sure when you are looking at your marketing plans and you're investing that money that you got from all your check from AEP, when you're investing that into your marketing this year, make sure that you're marketing for the type of clients you want to have, not for the type of clients you currently have. Remember, you want those turning 65 baby boomers that are freshly retiring. They're online, they're using the technology. Make sure that you're going after that demographic.
Yeah, I was trying to find, I had an app open the other day and I can't find it now, so I'll stop. But even in my app, it was ad supported, and there was an ad for a MacBook Air. And I was like, it just, everywhere you turn to, has anything to do digitally, just, it's crazy how exploited the information is. So Cindy says she loves her Lenovo IdeaPad. I just gave mine to my daughter because she needed a new laptop, so she got my Lenovo, and I actually already missed it a little bit, so I'm not gonna go there. But we work with retirees all day, right? That's what you're doing all day, every day. You're working with people who've retired. Hopefully, after you are getting your checks and seeing all this money, you're thinking, great, I need to retire one day. So don't blow all your AEP money on toys and everything. Put some away for taxes. Also put some away for retirement. But then you got to start thinking, when am I going to retire? How can I retire? What happens if I retire? And if you don't have those answers, there you go. Go to smsteam.net. Under the services tab, there's succession planning, because if you do it wrong, it can be very disastrous.
The only thing I'll mention about retirement is that it's not a 3-month process. It's not even like a year process. This is something that as soon as you are having that conversation of what's my succession plan look like? Am I going to sell my book of business? Am I going to pass it down to another insurance agent in my family? Is it something that I want to continue to receive commissions and retire off those commissions? Every one of those scenarios looks extremely difficult or extremely different, excuse me. So making sure that you're including the correct professionals in that conversation, i.e. make sure you get with senior marketing specialists. We work with succession planning every single day. Have that conversation with them, because it doesn't matter how your contracts are set up, who your contracts are with, your succession plan, and your timeline. All of those are going to be huge factors when it comes to that. So again, when you are getting that check this month, make sure, like Mike said, invest in your retirement, but make sure you're having that conversation and trying to plan ahead. What does retirement look like for you?
Yeah, we talk to our clients all the time about having life insurance and what happens after they pass. What happens if you were to pass away next week? What happens to your residual income? Because if it's not set up right, guess what? The carriers could just stop paying, and there's no recourse for your family to say, hey, you know, Bob had, or my dad, or my uncle, or whoever's going to get your residual income, my husband, wife, whoever. Hey, he had $100,000 in residual income every year. Where'd it go? And the carriers are like, well, it passed. So done. Yeah, there was no succession plan. So it's gone. And we've seen that happen firsthand at senior marketing specialists with agents. So if you want to protect your family, besides life insurance, make sure your business is set up to have those residual incomes roll over to the fam. Cindy asks a great question. Do 1099 agents not have any Social Security benefit at retirement?
You should, because again, that's what you're paying in your quarterly taxes, or if you do them on an annual basis, you should have a retirement income. It's the same reason. Again, that's what when you're 1099, that's what your taxes are typically you're going to go towards. It's going to go towards security and things like that. So yes, that's the purpose of you paying taxes with as a 1099 is to go towards like your Social Security, your Medicare benefits, things like that.
Yeah, so yeah, but definitely talk to your CPA. And this is why I highly recommend, you could do your own taxes all day long, highly recommend a good CPA. One, whatever you pay them is a tax deduction in the following year. And two, they may know lots of loopholes that you do not. So at least have a conversation with them, tell them what's going on, and they can definitely help you out. My CPA is amazing, and she hates the IRS more than I do. So good one to have.
Just keep in mind too, if so your Social Security retirement benefits, yes, it is something that you will get. You will receive a Social Security income. Of course, you talk to your financial planner. If you take that at 62, if you take that at 67, that's absolutely something to consider. But just keeping that in mind, what are your goals when it comes to retirement? Are your goals to survive? Are your goals to thrive? Are you going to travel? A lot of the goals that we will have upon retirement are not conducive with the income that comes from Social Security. So you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for additional income after you retire, and making sure if that's something, if you don't want to keep up with having your license, if you don't want to keep up with continuing education, annual certifications for different carriers, if you're not interested in doing that once you retire, then your current retirement plan probably won't work. You need to make sure you reach out to the professionals, again, senior marketing specialists, to talk about how you can retire and truly take a step out of the industry and use that time how you want to. If you want to sell a policy here and there out of your RV while you're backpacking through Arizona, you still might be able to have that conversation, but you have to make sure you're setting yourself up correctly.
100%. Yeah, and Denise said, her CPA is set up as an S Corp. I can tell you my side hustle is set up as an LLC to simplify things. So yeah, there's lots of things that you could do S Corp, LLC, depending on what your goals and everything are. So definitely talk to a tax professional, because the IRS isn't going to go to you and say, oh, you didn't know what you were doing? Oh, we'll just go ahead and waive the fees and everything else. No, they're just going to be like, yeah, sorry to hear that. You still owe us this insane amount of money.
If you're interested in learning the difference between an LLC, an S Corp, and an individual license, make sure you go to smsteam.net, click on the agency tab, and we have some interesting videos there. The differences between the three and how they do coincide with your succession plan.
100%. Now, Brad asked a great question. He said, is there a way to track a true up is due or not? Because some people, if they had a MA plan 5, 10 years ago and forgot about it, and they're telling you that, yes, this is the first time I've got a Medicare Advantage plan, but Medicare says, no, you had one, 5, 10 years ago and just canceled it. How do you track that? And the answer is, I don't know. That's a good question.
It's essentially just auditing your commission schedules. It honestly just takes diligence, and it takes good tracking. Making sure, again, this time of year is the perfect time of year to actually make those audits. And it's just the simple fact that carriers will make mistakes. So having those conversations with them, saying that I got paid, the half amount when I think I should have been paid the full amount, having that conversation with them, using our agent support team to help you with those audits, make sure you're asking the right questions, but asking questions like, this commission should have been this, why is it that? And the individuals or the reps should be able to help you and tell you exactly why you received the level of commissions that you had. Keep in mind that if you are an agent that has downline agents, please keep in mind that you have been receiving override throughout the last quarter of the year. So I know a lot of people were receiving checks for smaller amounts, were frustrated because they're like, well, I should have gotten this amount and I got X amount, I should have gotten Y amount. Keep in mind, overrides have been received all through AEP. Your personal commissions don't come until after the first of the year. So just keep that in mind as well. But again, just do a simple audit, track it does take systems and processes. Your CRM potentially has the ability to do a lot of that auditing as well, depending on what CRM you invested in.
Yeah, and when it comes to knowing if they had an MA plan 5, 10 years ago, the carrier's just going off CMS's word, so you have to pretty much go off that as well. I don't know if there's a surefire way to look back 10 years in someone's records and see what they had or not. So, I would, if there is a huge issue, I would definitely involve your local rep and then call us too. We can see if we can help you out on that if you think there's a big discrepancy. That's what we're here for. Yes. So we are going live every Friday now, 9 a.m. Central in the Medicare Cafe agent group. This week, we'll be talking about getting more referrals or home health care. Simple little method to get your client to keep top of mind and referable to your clients. It is an event, so just say you're going to the event and you should be all ready to go. Nice and simple.
But again, you do access that through Medicare or through the Medicare Cafe closed agent group. That is not something that's through GoToWebinar. That is on the Facebook page. So make sure you're going to Facebook in order to attend that event.
Yeah, it's only in the group, so it won't be broadcast to the public. You go in there, so you go into the event, and we'll go. We're trying, just so I'm going to disclose to all our friends on here today, that we're trying the event method for a couple of weeks, see if that works better versus just going live randomly at 9 o'clock. So if you like it, great. If you say, no, this is confusing, let us know. We are still working through Facebook's, system, because unfortunately, we have no control over Facebook. They kind of do what they want. We all have to react accordingly. Yeah, but that's Cafe. Get that money, use it wisely, and don't blow it all on stupid stuff like I am really good at doing.
Again, recap, make sure that you save some aside for taxes. Save some for rainy days, save some for your retirement, making sure that you're having that conversation when you're having your goal settings. Make sure retirement is a conversation you're having in your goal settings. I don't care if you're 21 or 71, that conversation needs to be had with yourself first. And then number 3 is to make sure you're investing in yourself, investing in your tech, investing in your agency. Is it time to add administrative staff to your agency? Side note, a lot of people think to grow my agency means I need to grow my downlines. I need to have more downline agents. Most of the time, that's actually not the case. It actually stops productivity more so than improves it. So do you want to be an agency manager, or do you want to be an agent with administrative staff? Have this conversation, know the differences. Make sure you're utilizing the tools and resources offered on SMS University to know the pros and cons of each one.
100%. And don't forget, you can always do a part-time person at 1099 as well. They don't have to be a full-fledged employee to do work with you. Maybe they're doing this for some retention calls and such. So, and I would definitely, if you're looking to add staff, have very clear expectations of what you expect that person to do. So you're not just hiring people and throwing money at them because you like them. Because if that's the case, you could send your checks to 801 Great. I'm kidding. Just kidding.
Any other questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises in regards to today's topic, which is where do you invest your money, or what do you do with your money when it comes from payday? Your
Yeah,
AEP.
and again, can't reiterate enough. Don't forget that if you struggled a little bit through AEP, now is a perfect time to think, okay, I need to look at ancillary products that pay regardless of the selling season. So it's a great filler, great for your clients, get extra coverage, great for you to have that extra coverage and be paid to do so. So keep that in mind, and we'll talk obviously more about that throughout 2021. But it looks like we are done with questions. So yay, thank you everyone. Oh
Awesome.
wait, here we go. Oh, admin staff. Yeah.
If you're interested in that, Charmaine, what admin staff, an ideal admin staff, what they can be doing versus an agent, LOA or not. Again, senior marketing specialist, that's at snsteam.net. Click on the training tab, go to the agency training. We have a lot of cool things on there of activities that admin staff can be doing or how to use admin staff. Also, make sure you can talk to our accounts team. Our accounts team help you with business planning and strategy implement. What they can do is they have a ton of white papers and a ton of information on how to have an administrative staff and how to motivate, how to help them, how to train them, tools and resources senior marketing specialist offers for your administrative staff, things like that. So there's an abundance of tools that we can help you with. But it's absolutely a topic that Mike and I can cover in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the easiest answer to that right now, just to oversimplify it, is retention. And because they can't sell, someone that's not licensed can't quote insurance, and they obviously can't sell insurance. So what can someone do? They could do retention calls where there's no sales involved. They could do appointment setting for you and such. So lots of things they can do. Just have to remember not crossing any lines against your Department of Insurance or CMS. So watch for those. But again, that's what we're here for. Give us a call, and like Olivia said, we have tons of tools and resources for you to explore and use in your agency. Yes, so hopefully we'll see you Friday 9 o'clock in the cafe group for a live home healthcare, how to get more referrals. Otherwise, watch our events calendar. We got some new stuff coming up this quarter, so pay attention to that. And if you have questions, feel free to post in the group as well. Don't forget to keep your social media active with SMS Agent Connect. If you have an active contract, you get free access there, and you get all kinds of goodies on us. So check that out. Yes, sound like an infomercial there for a second. All right, so until next time, have fun, make money, and
give impeccable service. Thanks, guys.
thank you.